the will of the people and stick to encouraging private-led economic growth. North Korea fires 2 cruise missiles. This comes a day after Seoul and Washington begin preliminary drills ahead of the Ulchi Freedom Shield exercise. The nation's daily COVID-19 tally hit a 4-month high. With BA.5 spreading quickly, authorities believe new cases to reach 200,000 this month. Hello and welcome to our newscast. I'm Daniel Chen. Let's begin with the top story at this hour. Battling record low ratings, President Yoon Suk-yeol held a press conference fielding questions on a wide range of issues. The conservative leader was clear on some topics over others. Moon Gun-young starts us off with a focus on his North Korean foreign policies.
South Korea does not want a North Korean regime change by force and remains open to dialogue as long as the talks aren't meant to be a political show but contributes to establishing peace in the region. That's South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol on Wednesday during a news conference to mark his first 100 days in office, where he stressed that Seoul is willing to provide corresponding economic rewards at each step of a phased denuclearization process if the North commits to a genuine roadmap toward fully abandoning its nuclear program.
먼저 다 비핵화를 시켜라. 그럼 우리가 그 다음에 한다. 이런 뜻이 아니고 그런 확고한 의지만 보여주면 거기에 따라 우리가 할 수 있는 일들을 다 도와주겠다는 얘기이기 때문에.
This comes just days after the South Korean commander-in-chief announced that an audacious economic package could start even before the end of North Korea's nuclear program. Cross-border ties have worsened since nuclear negotiations between North Korea and the U.S. derailed in early 2019, and North Korea has ramped up its missile testing to record pace this year, launching more than 30 ballistic weapons so far, including its first intercontinental ballistic missile in nearly 5 years. Now, that revived debate in South Korea on whether Seoul should pursue its own nuclear weapons, a possibility that President Yoon was quick to dismiss on Wednesday, adding he remains committed to the Treaty on the Non-Proliferation of Nuclear Weapons. On relations with Japan, Yoon believes historical disputes with Japan dating back to its 1910 to 1945 colonial occupation of the Korean Peninsula could be overcome, and the neighbors should now cooperate more closely on supply chain and economic security.
일본이 우려하는 그런 어떤 주권 문제에 충돌 없이 채권자들이 보상을 받을 수 있는 그런 방안을 지금 깊이 강구하고 있는 중입니다.
Yoon, a conservative who took power back in May after winning by a razor-thin margin, has been a proponent for taking tougher stance against North Korea while aligning his security policies with those of the U.S. and Japan. Moon Gun-young, Arirang News.
On the domestic front, President Yoon Suk-yeol promised to govern according to the will of the people. The South Korean leader also vowed to closely study public opinion, possibly taking into account the low approval ratings. Yoon Jung-min shares with us his remarks.
Apparently mindful of his unusually low approval ratings, President Yoon Suk-yeol made sure his remarks were humble and directed to the Korean people.
국정을 운영하는 데 있어 가장 중요한 것은 첫째도 국민의 뜻이고 둘째도 국민의 뜻입니다. 국민의 숨소리 하나 놓치지 않고 한치도 국민의 뜻에 벗어나지 않도록 그 뜻을 잘 받들겠습니다. 저부터 앞으로 더욱 분골쇄신하겠습니다.
Although he vowed to humbly examine the public sentiment reflected by the opinion polls, which at one point plunged to 24% in the first 3 months of his presidency, the new president said he was not planning a wholesale reshuffle of his aides for the sake of improving his approval ratings. Yoon also said he would continue to stop by reporters every morning to take a few questions, something that's now become one of his administration's signature events. On the economy, the South Korean leader reiterated his commitment to encourage private-led economic growth, saying his government is currently looking into some 1,000 regulations that require reform.
정부의 중요한 역할은 민간이 더 자유롭게 투자하고 성장할 수 있도록 그 제도적 방해 요소를 제거해 나가는 것입니다. 제가 직접 규제혁신 전략회의를 주재하면서 도약과 성장을 가로막는 규제를 과감하게 혁신해 나가겠습니다.
The president also renewed his pledge to do more to achieve belt-tightening in the public sector and deal with urgent tasks during his weekly emergency meeting on economic affairs. On labor management conflicts, the prosecutor general turned president not only emphasized laws and principles or the importance of negotiations among relevant parties, but also vowed to come up with more fundamental measures to settle the issue. Yoon, Arirang News.
North Korea fired 2 cruise missiles toward the West Sea. This comes as Seoul and Washington hold preliminary drills ahead of a major combined training that involves live field exercises for the first time in years. Bae Eun-ji tells us more.
On the day South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol marked his first 100 days in office, North Korea on Wednesday morning fired 2 cruise missiles towards the West Sea. A South Korean military official said the missiles were fired from the northwest coast town of Oncheon without providing further details. This was the first missile launched from the north in more than 2 months, since they fired a ballistic missile on June 5th. The launch also comes as Seoul and Washington hold 4 days of preliminary drills in preparation for their major combined training that has infuriated Pyongyang. Named the Ulji Freedom Shield, the summertime drill will involve live field exercises for the first time in 4 years. It will be held in South Korea from next Monday through September 1st. South Korea's presidential office said its national security advisor held a meeting after Wednesday's launch to assess the security situation and examine the military's readiness. Since 2020, North Korea has reportedly test-fired cruise missiles around 10 times. And in January last year, it announced that it's planning to develop advanced cruise missiles. The regime recently claimed to have developed 2 types of new cruise missiles and unveiled them through their Defense Development Exhibition and military parade.
Test firing the missiles around 10 times was probably not enough for them to perfectly develop new types of weapon systems. So it seems the latest launch was made because of a number of reasons, to test their new missiles and to criticize the combined training between South Korea and Japan.
Cruise missiles can be seen as a rather low-level provocation, as most cruise missiles are not designed to carry nuclear warheads. But one expert notes there is a possibility of stronger actions from the north during the combined training period.
If they are planning something stronger, we cannot rule out the possibility of the North launching its new ballistic missile or even ditching the military agreement.
Bae Eun-ji, Arirang News.
Seoul and Washington further strengthen ironclad alliance against regional security threats. That's coming from key officials during bilateral defense dialogue. Several issues were discussed, including North Korea's evolving military threats and the trilateral alliance that includes Tokyo. Han Sung-woo has the details.
South Korea and the United States have reaffirmed their common goal of completely denuclearizing the Korean peninsula. At the 21st Korea-U.S. Integrated Defense Dialogue held in Seoul this week, delegations led by South Korea's Deputy Defense Minister for Policy, Ho Tae-gun, and his American counterpart, Siddharth Mohandas, discussed a wide range of regional security issues, especially North Korea's evolving missile and nuclear threats. The allies agreed to expand the scale of joint military drills as a follow-up to next week's Ulji Freedom Shield exercise, during which they plan to evaluate the South Korean military's full operational capability, the second part of the 3-stage process required to transfer wartime operation control to South Korea. In addition, South Korea and the U.S. shared information on the North's Punggye-ri nuclear test site and confirmed the alliance would respond decisively to a 7th nuclear test by Pyongyang, including through the deployment of U.S. strategic assets. According to a press release from South Korea's defense ministry, Ho and Mohandas also agreed that GSOMIA, or the General Security of Military Information Agreement between Seoul and Tokyo, continues to serve an important role in the trilateral security cooperation with Washington. Minister Lee Jong-seop had voiced the need to normalize the intelligence sharing pact during a parliamentary session early this month. Another item on the defense dialogue's agenda was the missile defense system known as THAAD, which Ha and Mohandas assessed as crucial to the defense of civilians and troops in South Korea. A defense ministry official told reporters Wednesday that the U.S. appreciates how the THAAD base in Seongju-gun County, Gyeongsangbuk-do Province has been made more accessible to trucks delivering food and other goods. Access had been restricted due to protests by local residents. The allies also confirmed their extended deterrence strategy and consultation group will be reactivated sometime this September, and revealed a new working group on counter-missile efforts will be launched. Han Sung-woo, Arirang News.
South Korea's foreign minister met with his Qatari counterpart to discuss strengthening bilateral ties. Park Jin and Mohammed bin Abdulrahman Al Thani agreed the two sides developed a mutually beneficial relationship in the energy and construction sectors. The duo vowed to further expand their cooperation in various other fields, including renewable energy, health, and agriculture. The ministers also signed a mutual visa waiver agreement, allowing visa-free stay of up to 90 days from the current 30. The new program takes effect from September 16th. The nation's daily COVID-19 tally exceeded 180,000, the highest since mid-April. In response, the government announced plans to open select hospitals on weekends to better treat severely ill patients. Shin Ha-young brings the updates.
South Korea's new COVID-19 case numbers are at their highest since mid-April. The Korea Disease Control and Prevention Agency on Wednesday reported 180,803 new infections. 469 were in critical condition. There were 42 more COVID-related deaths, giving the country a fatality rate of 0.12%. Local health authorities expect new daily cases to peak at around 200,000 this month before steadily slowing down. In response, the Central Disaster and Safety Countermeasure Headquarters has announced that starting this Saturday for a 6-week period, designated hospitals in the capital area will be open on weekends to treat patients who have severe symptoms as well as those at high risk such as pregnant women and infants. Regarding regions outside the Seoul metropolitan area, the government is planning on providing hospital beds from other regions when the situation becomes difficult to manage. Meanwhile, according to the UK-based Our World in Data, South Korea last week ranked the highest in terms of number of new cases per 1 million people among 216 countries. KDCA Commissioner Baek Kyung-lan said that even though the number is the highest, the country's death toll is relatively low compared to the other countries. Shin Ha-young, Arirang News.
Major South Korean companies performed better in the first half of 2022 in terms of sales compared to last year. According to CEO score among the nation's top 500 firms, the 337 that submitted reports saw a 20% spike. Sales also rose in 19 out of 20 industries. With the oil price hike, the largest increase was in the petrochemical industry, where average sales jumped more than 44%. The IT industry had over 19% average spikes, while the automobile and parts sector saw sales rise around 15%. Samsung Electronics took a bigger bite out of the global smartphone market pie in H1 at 22.6%, up 2.5 percentage points on year. It's the 11th year in a row the Korean tech titan topped the market in the first half. Samsung will unveil new products including lower-end phones. Its market share of DRAM chips edged up to 43.5%, accounting for more than half of the smartphone panels market. But its performance in the TV sector weakened due to geopolitical risks and an unstable global supply chain. U.S. President Joe Biden signed a massive spending bill aimed at combating climate change and lowering costs of prescription drugs. This is in accordance with the so-called Inflation Reduction Act, arguably one of the most significant laws passed in American history. Kim Yo-sun explains further.
President Joe Biden has signed into law the Inflation Reduction Act, an ambitious measure that aims to dampen inflation, combat climate change, and lower the price of prescription drugs. Speaking during the bill signing ceremony at the White House on Tuesday, Biden praised the legislation as one of the most significant measures in America's history.
With this law, the American people won and the special interests lost.
Referring to the law, he explained that this is proof that the soul of America is vibrant and the future of the country is bright. Ahead of the signing, the White House emphasized the impact of the Inflation Reduction Act, saying between 5 and 7 million Americans could see their prescription drug costs drop. It also explained the bill would contribute to reducing greenhouse gas emissions by 1 billion metric tons in 2030. Moreover, local media outlets say that with the signing of the bill, electric vehicles that are assembled outside of North America will no longer qualify for the conventional EV tax credit. This move would have an effect on South Korean car manufacturers like Hyundai and Kia, as vehicles assembled in South Korea will no longer qualify for the $7,500 worth of tax credit for electric vehicles. Kim Yoon, Arirang News.
Elsewhere around the world, blasts rocked a Russian military depot in Crimea. Moscow called the explosions an act of sabotage, while Ukraine's presidential advisor shared on social media that what happened is demilitarization in action. Issue has the latest.
Explosions rocked a military depot on the Russian-occupied Crimean Peninsula in Ukraine on Tuesday. The blast occurred at an ammunition depot and other facilities in the village of Myskoye, which serves as an important supply line for Russia. The attack led to fires, injuries to at least 2 people, and caused more than 3,000 residents to evacuate. This is the second time in a week that explosions have occurred in the Russian outposts in Crimea following last week's attack at an airbase that destroyed 9 Russian warplanes. The governor of Crimea called the latest explosions an act of sabotage and added that the detonations were ongoing.
Now we are waiting for the detonation of ammunition to stop. You can hear again another explosion now.
While Ukraine did not claim responsibility for the incident, its presidential advisor Mikhailo Podolyak tweeted that what's happening in Crimea is demilitarization in action. Russian state media speculated that attack may have involved the use of small drones. The town of Nikopol near the Zaporizhzhia nuclear plant came under Russian rocket fire on Tuesday. According to its regional military administration, at least 4 people have been injured. This came just days after the European Union, along with 42 countries around the world, issued a statement urging Russia to immediately withdraw its military forces from the Zaporizhzhia plant. Ukraine's state nuclear power company Energoatom on Tuesday said Russian-based hackers, the People's Cyber Army, carried out a 3-hour bombardment of its website using millions of bot users who simulated hundreds of millions of views of the company's main page. But it didn't cause significant problems to the operations of the website. Meanwhile, former UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon visited Kyiv as a member of the Elders, a group of senior global leaders working for peace and human rights. During his 12-hour visit on Tuesday, Ban met with President Zelensky and visited the site of the Bucha massacre. There, Ban said the victims of the massacre should be fully honored and remembered in the history of humankind. Lee Si-hoo, Arirang News.
Back here in Indonesia, summer vacation spots are quickly becoming important places for retail companies to introduce products and build a positive brand experience. Local governments are getting involved by testing delivery technology. Lee went to check them out.
No matter where people gather, retail companies are always closed by seeking opportunities. And during the summer season, many of those opportunities can be found at the beach. Yangon County in the northeast of Gangwon-do province is currently one of the nation's trendiest beach spots. Here, a retail giant is testing out their newly developed variety of watermelon called Black Winter. The sweeter-tasting watermelon is a result of 7 years of cooperation between the retail company and a South Korean bio firm.
It's great that visitors like us can try new services or products at vacation spots where there aren't many convenient facilities.
And it's not only fruit companies that are showing off their new lines. Liquor companies are trying to build a positive brand experience too. One company has been raising awareness by offering holiday makers new types of cocktails that complement a summer's day at the beach.
Surfy Beach in Yangnam-gun is a place where Generation MZers come to enjoy various experiences like surfing. We wanted visitors to enjoy our cocktails in a way they like on this beach.
Clothing companies are also getting in on the act with pop-up shops appearing on the sand. The latest autumn and winter season accessories are on display, allowing visitors to experience these products in person. And even a local government collaboration with a technology company has rolled out a new service on the beach, drone delivery. Everyone knows that you can get your food delivered basically everywhere in South Korea. But who would have guessed that it's even available at the beach, carried to you by drone? All you have to do is to order, wait in this drone delivery zone, and pick up your food. People used to have to walk a long way in the scorching heat to grab food at the seaside, but drones have made things much easier.
We wanted to demonstrate the high level of technology used in autonomous drones even on beaches where there is strong sunlight and wind. And it's also a place with high demand for drone delivery too.
The official added that his company also aims to develop autonomous drones to be used in cities, offering drone delivery services with low prices in urban areas. 이래현, 아리랑 뉴스 동해.
The key to treating cancer is early detection. A South Korean research team developed a tactile sensor that can measure the hardness and softness of an object. Combining this with AI, they can detect breast cancer with 96% accuracy. Lee Seung-jae turns the spotlight to this breakthrough.
This sensor looks like an ordinary semiconductor chip. However, when pressed against an object, the sensor produces electrical signals of different frequencies, indicating how hard or soft the object is. Researchers have been able to determine and standardize the frequency change according to the hardness of the object. This is the first time that a tactile sensor has been developed to accurately distinguish the hardness level.
Humans can easily distinguish the hardness level, but it is very difficult to make a device that can distinguish hardness. However, it is significant that we have further developed a technology that can quantify the hardness level.
Combining the tactile sensor and AI, researchers are now able to screen for breast cancer. A special ultrasound sensor image that shows the degree of elasticity was used to determine whether or not the subject was positive for breast cancer. The technology allows for a very high success rate in detecting the disease at 95.8%. The test also means people can be tested for breast cancer pain-free with just simple touch of the sensor. This technology is expected to be useful not only for cancer diagnosis, but also for recognizing the boundary of invasion of tumors or diseases in robotic surgery, where doctors cannot touch the surgical site. Lee Seung-jae, Arirang News.
The entire nation will take a break from the continuous rain tomorrow. The stationary rain front will move out of the peninsula overnight. Mostly sunny skies with hot temperatures are expected. For the daytime, places like Arirang in Gyeongsangnam-do province will see temperatures hiking up to 32 degrees Celsius. For those across inland regions, you might need to give yourself some extra time for your morning commute tomorrow. From tonight to early tomorrow morning, dense layers of fog will build up across much of inland regions. Visibility is forecast to drop significantly to below 1 kilometer, so for those driving, please be careful out on the roads. Morning temperatures will be similar tomorrow. Lows in Seoul and Busan will be starting off at 23 degrees. Daily highs in Seoul and Chuncheon will be reaching 30. Daejeon and Gwangju 31. Daegu will be hot at 32 degrees. On Friday, another rain front will be dropping showers across central regions. By Saturday, rain will spread nationwide. There are concerns about further damage caused by landslide and flooding, so please take precautions beforehand. That's all for now, and here are the weather conditions around the world.
That's all from us. As always, thank you for watching.